Let me go straight to the point, introduce to you dear friend Peyush. Thank you, Peyush, for coming here.
Thanks, Sudhir.
Stellar entrepreneur par excellence, and somebody who is perhaps symbolic of what Indian entrepreneurship can do, not only in India, not just building a firm, but building something which is impactful and changing the lives of people in the country. And I'll ask Peyush to elaborate that later. Overall, Peyush is the founder of Lenskart, started in 2010, along with Amit Chaudhary and Sumit Kapati, his co-founders. Started with a pure play digital distribution approach. Today, Peyush has evolved Lenskart into more than 2,000 retail stores, 3/4 of which are made in India, and the balance are outside the country. Presence in 15 countries, and Lenskart eyeglasses and related products are manufactured in the world's largest eyewear manufacturing facility based out of Delhi. There are 2 facilities, and produces 10 lakh glasses a month overall, and the annual production capacity of both the factories put together, including one outside the country, is 5 crore glasses a year. That is humongous scale as such. Lenskart is not just a leader in the Indian market, it's also an upcoming leader. You would be 7th largest in the world today, or 5th largest?
Don't know.
Okay, in the top 7 in the world in dollar terms, and one of the few companies who are approaching $1 billion revenue this year. When we came in 2011, and it was nice of Peyush to let us be investors. It was amazing. That time we invested just $4 million in the company at a post money of $10 million. Today the company has just completed a round with Adia at $4.5 billion. That's a journey of around 11-12 years, which is unparalleled, but it is not going to be the only journey. There are today 7 companies who have reached almost $1 billion revenue, and in the next 5 years we expect around 30 more companies to reach $1 billion revenue. All these companies were something similar to Lenskart, doing a few lakh rupees a month, 10 to 15 years behind. So, welcome Peyush. Thank you for joining us today. Peyush, you decided to come back to India after studying and working in the US, and that too to become an entrepreneur. What made you change that decision? What made you come back to India?
Yeah, so it was about, thanks Sudhir for inviting, and thanks everyone for having me here. It was about 12 years back. I just somehow managed to get a job at Microsoft after failing the interview once and then preparing for that interview for 3 months the next time I applied, and I finally got the job, which I was dying to get. And after doing the job for a year, one fine day Bill Gates had invited some few employees to his lakeside house, and you know, sometimes you get inspired by people and beyond limits. And you know, he was talking about how he's going to move to Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and make the world a better place. So I was thinking, I was sitting in the office and making PowerPoint better and Excel better every day, talking to expensive customers in Morgan Stanley and JP Morgan, adding the next feature in Microsoft Excel and PowerPoint. And I thought I also should be doing something which is change the world like Bill Gates is. And you know, I was just literally 27 years old. And so yeah, I was thinking in the night in my apartment in Redmond that I should do something like that, and I did it. I just left the job
without and came to India.
And just came to India without an idea. And I thought that that US will not have opportunity to create this kind of revolutions. India would have.
Okay.
Because like everywhere there are problems to be solved.
So when I first met you, you had 4 businesses in the company.
Yeah.
And so what made you start the 4 businesses, and please do explain what the 4 businesses, and what made you focus on eyewear?
Okay, so I'll correct that. So when you first met us, we were so enamored by, so then when I came across this problem of vision correction, which I read in a newspaper that India is the blind capital of the world and 75% people here who need vision don't have it. it was like that moment which I was looking for after Microsoft to, where I could probably make an impact. So I was on that journey, and I don't know investing or fundraising. So we were just quietly doing that out of our basement office, meeting customers, trying to understand. And then you guys reached out somehow. I still remember TCM came to our office and he said, "What are you guys up to?" I got an email from about Lenskart, and e-commerce is hot. And you suddenly said, "Take money." I didn't know how much money to ask, so I asked 2 crores. You gave 4 million. My dad is a CA. He said, "This doesn't sound right. Something is wrong." But yeah, we took the money. After you took the money, you said that eyewear is not so big, so we should build a larger company and be like Titan of
it's the other way around. Okay.
Online Titan, right? Online Titan. So we opened 3 more businesses very quickly, watches, bags, jewelry. But 2 years doing it, I remember TCM and we were sitting, and Ronnie was asking me that what is my dream, and I told him I want to change the vision correction problem. So he said, "Then why are you doing the other stuff?" I was like, "I don't know." So he said, "If you shut the other stuff, then we will give you money." Now top line that time was 10 crores. 2 crores was coming from eyewear. I literally used to spend 95% of my time on eyewear, and rest 5%, 80% of top line was not my goal. So then TCM, your partner, and Ronnie told me that if you want to do just eyewear, we will continue to fund you irrespective of valuation for you to do that, because we like you, what you are doing. That's it. That's why we shut the other 3, and the GMV went down. Nobody wanted to invest, but I was happier.
So that was in some sense your pivot.
Yes, in some sense it was the right thing to do. For me, it was more of an emotional decision, because my calling wasn't to create like a $1 billion business or anything. It still isn't. And when that burden of raising the next round of money got away, I could literally do. And what happened is we had like so much overhiring done because of these other businesses. We suddenly had so much talent which could be put on eyewear. And I remember 2 crore revenue in the next, like literally 1 year went to like, 2 crore a year went to like 50 crores a year very quickly, because everybody was just focused on the same problem, not just me alone.
So would you advise entrepreneurs in the early part of their journey to focus?
Yes, I think I would advise entrepreneurs to really know what it is that they want to do, and what is it that they are solving, and where are they adding value, and what is arrival for them. Not for the VCs, what is arrival for them, when do they think, and which is why I'm still discontent as an entrepreneur, because from where I started, which is my meeting with Bill Gates, I haven't really done anything. So for me, arrival hasn't come. For many people, for Chiratae maybe it has partly. So I think I would urge entrepreneurs to really think hard, because don't do it just for the sake of doing it. It's not like you need to stay motivated in the journey.
Right.
So otherwise it kind of becomes dragging, and you're doing it for the wrong reasons.
So coming back now, maybe the last question on impact. You mentioned Bill Gates, and then you mentioned your ability or your vision to have an impact, switching over to Lenskart as a focus. What is the impact which you've had through the eyewear business in the country? Can you sort of quantify that and define that? And what's your vision for that?
So very little right now, right? There are about 700 million people in India who need vision.
Vision correction.
Vision correction. I think about when we started, maybe 170, 180 million people had it. Maybe we have added another 30 million people in India with vision correction. And globally, there are about 4.5 billion people who need glasses. Only 2 billion have it. According to World Health Forum and the largest health ailment in the world is not hearing aids, not malaria, not dengue, it's vision correction, right? Because a child who's going to school cannot really, we do so much work in the foundation, which my wife runs. We find kids who are in grade 7 who have pretty significant myopia, but they never had glasses.
Right.
In fact, 70% of school dropouts in India are because of vision issues. So I think the impact that we have had is that I think people are beginning to talk about eyewear, right? There's more awareness about this problem. I get calls from insurance companies saying, okay, let's think about vision correction. I have somebody who reached out to me from Ayushman Bharat saying, let's talk. So I think that is the impact. I think There is more accessibility. We haven't been able to make a national impact, but in a city like Bangalore, I think there is more impact. So Bangalore, we would be serving maybe 1 out of 3 people now.
Oh, interesting.
Right? Glasses. And the way I remember, people used to say, even I'm just saying from a revenue perspective, people used to say that eyewear market in India is 4,000 crores, right? And then people said that Bangalore would be 400 crores market and Lenskart would be 500 crores in Bangalore alone, right? So I'm just saying that that is the impact where we are saying, okay, we are pushing, and 60%, we do now about 10 lakh eye exams a month, which is not very large. You want to get to 1 crore very quickly. But 60% of these eye tests that we do every month are people who have never got their eyes tested before. Ever.
That's significant influence.
So that means 60% more people are getting myopia correction. The other thing that is changing right now, which I think is happening in India, but has not happened anywhere in the world, is that eyewear is becoming lifestyle. You know, on an average in US, everywhere, a consumer changes eyewear once every 2.5 years. At Lenskart, people buy 4 to 5 eyewear every 2 years, right? And I think overall in the Indian ecosystem, even without Lenskart, people are beginning to change eyewear once every 1 year. Where Lenskart could be once every 4-5 months. So I think that change, India is leading ahead of every other market in the world.
So coming back to, you mentioned your vision to go to address the needs of potentially 700 million people for eyewear correction. In India and of course larger numbers outside. How did you integrate that vision into a strategy through the board into the company, which defined your channels, which defined your hurdles which came in like testing, which defined your decision to do manufacturing, etc.?
See, I think so there's a book which I read a lot, right? And there's a book I read which is High Performance Entrepreneur by Subrata Bachi. You must have read it too. The Mind Tree CEO. And you know, he speaks about that you should write. You should write what you want to do. You should really, everything is born and destroyed in language. So we wrote. I still remember 7 years back, we wrote a book. And I spent enormous amount of time writing what will we do. So I think that clarity is what we did well. What we want to be and because there are distractions that keep coming us, and we had learnt our lesson early on. So we wrote that we want to give vision. So I think that clarity helped, and then over communicate what we want to do, because again, you know, you can never over communicate. You can just make people believe again and again, but if you keep changing your message every time, then people also get distracted. Now once that was set, it wasn't, to be honest, the strategy was only simple, that every day you come to work, you have to think why people who are buying, and why people who are not buying. And you have to just keep solving that problem for the next 20, 30 years. And the only way you can solve, and then you need to say, am I doing am I doing a good job of solving that problem? And for that, you know, there are 3 things that have worked well. You know, keep raising the bar for talent, keep raising the bar for technology, and keep raising the bar for culture in the company. That, you know, this culture doesn't die of constantly failing and learning. So I think, and when I say technology, I mean technology and data both. So I don't think there's a strategy that I can write that, okay, you have to do omni-channel. In fact, I don't know what is the strategy that, you know, and I believe that a company can, you know, some investors come and say Lenskart has found a mousetrap, right? I don't think you can ever find the mousetrap. You have to constantly unlearn, learn, and figure out. You know, a few years back, people were buying, you know, iPads didn't exist. Today, iPads exist. So what will change? And now generative AI is there. All we can do is like take a problem a day, keep solving it till we solve it.
But let me get to specifics. You took the decision of doing eye tests at home. Elaborate that, because that was a very big game changer.
Yeah, so I think it's the same philosophy, right? There are 100,000 people coming on your website. Let's say 3% people buy. The best online conversion is 5%. Then the question is, you know, everybody's saying spend more money on marketing and increase traffic. But when I reach out to all those 100,000 people, you know, 40-50% people want to buy from us, right? So why are they not buying? So maybe they want an eye test. And
they were coming to shops to do eye tests?
yes, so we said, okay, let's go to their house. So we sent people on a van. Then we realized, okay, van is too clumsy,
So
but then we went on a bike.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now they can, then we said, okay, why book an appointment 6 days later? You can do it in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So we can book an appointment right now in 30 minutes. You can
And
get
you're
an eye
doing how
test.
many eye tests a day right now?
Collectively, right now,
In India?
in India, about 30,000 a day.
30,000 a day. And I've been a recipient. These are Lenskart glasses, by the way. Okay. So, any if you want to try Lenskart eye test at home, please do try. It's a wonderful experience. Quick one. Going to your domestic market, you're a dominant player. Then you you decided to expand outside the country. What drove that decision? Then you acquired Ondays for a large $300 million sum in Japan, and then you're today in 15 countries. Explain that journey.
Yeah, so I think, like I said, we just like we wrote something 7 years back, we also wrote something just 2 years back. And we, after COVID, myopia was growing very rapidly. And in many markets like Southeast Asia, myopia is now 80%, right? And in Hong Kong and all, it's 90%. So 8 out of 10 kids today have myopia. In India also, it's growing. And we were kind of beginning to feel that if we think about the next 20, 30 years, what is the impact and what do we think we want to create? And we kind of felt that we wrote a new statement, and that statement was we want to be Amazon of eyewear, right? And then when we wrote this statement and that we saw, okay, where is the biggest problem, and we sell Southeast Asia. So we started working. We are not in a rush, but when we went into Southeast Asia, we piloted Singapore for 2 years. We realized that actually
And you did well there. You did very well there.
Yeah, we realized the problem is actually same. People don't have access to vision care. It's so expensive. The awareness is low. People are not. And when we met those customers, we could realize. So then we realized this dream, and we took a bold bet. We found some company which was present in physical locations, and the founders were just stellar, and I wanted more co-founders. So we put everything we raised in one company.
And I've had the chance to meet the Ondays founders.
Yeah,
Amazing founders.
I think the fundamentals are strong.
Very strong, yeah. Quick question on technology. Right from selection of eyeglasses online to manufacturing technology, what are the top 3 technologies would you highlight, which is game changers as far as Lenskart is concerned, which has resulted in commercial usage?
I think overall technology is a DNA, right? It's not like, I don't think companies become successful on a technology. It's a way of thinking, of problem solving, of A/B testing. You can apply it anywhere. Even if you're doing a property business, you can apply it. You can apply in farming. For Lenskart, I think that establishment of that DNA was, and I've seen it over and over again. We hire so many leaders. I've seen people who have leaders who have a technology mindset. They end up breaking the barriers and doing a lot more. But, generative AI has just become popular. But Lenskart started using AI like 7-8 years back. And we were when we started opening stores, there was this whole question that I used to sit in this review meeting where people would present properties for store locations, and people would ask me, do I approve or not? And I used to feel kind of stupid because I was flipping a coin and approving. I didn't know whether it'll do well or not. And everybody else was waiting whether, if I answer first, then everybody else would say yes. If I say no, everybody else would say no. So I started answering in the end. But the success rate was still poor. So we said, okay, in college, I used to trade stock market using AI. That was my background. So we started creating algorithm, okay, there's so much data on the internet about food delivery prices, etc. And we started predicting. So today, I think if you go to a latitude, longitude, we can predict with 95% accuracy what revenue would a Lenskart store do there. And that allowed us to open like 400-500 stores a year. So I think that technology, it's one example, very unique example that the second was, I think this whole thing about, trying glasses, and we invested a lot in AR, and we have co-invested now in a company. But Lenskart invested in AR like 6-7 years back. So what we realized when we gave people this Lenskart app where they could try glasses thousands in a second, they suddenly started imagining themselves in those glasses and that frequency of buying. So there are innumerable examples, and also this manufacturing and software linkage, where the combination of hardware and software has a huge amount of potential. Where if you go to, let's say, Tirupati and you want to order Lenskart glasses and you want 2 mm more height in your lens, we wanted that in next 15 minutes your specs is on a machine, and nobody should tell the machine that you need 2 mm more. The machine should know immediately. So we started writing code for automation very early on. So that really helped.
Excellent.